Later today, City Representative Sam Morgan is scheduled to appear in court facing assault charges against his wife. Hours after that, he'll appear before City Council where they could vote to condemn the controversial city representative. CBS 4 This Morning's Kaylee Heck has more on that in about 30 minutes.
There's 3 now. Oh God, there's 3. There's 4.
Our newsroom has been flooded with calls about videos about this mysterious light show. CBS 4 tries to get to the bottom of the phenomenon.
Jerry, did you call 911?
I did.
What is your complaint?
And disturbing new video this morning. The man who police in Hawaii say killed 2 officers before burning down 7 houses. Seen here talking with one of those officers in a previous encounter. What police are revealing about that suspect's potential whereabouts today.
Live from the CBS 4 studios, this is CBS 4 This Morning.
Well, good morning and thank you for waking up with CBS 4 This Morning.
We'll get to all those stories and more coming up. But first, new this morning, one person is recovering from serious injuries after an overnight house fire in the Lower Valley. El Paso Fire Dispatch says they responded to a fire on the 400 block of Schultz Drive just before 1 o'clock this morning. This is a developing story. Visit CBS4Local.com for more information.
Good morning, everybody. About 5 o'clock, and we are seeing those temperatures really start to decline. Keep in mind, for this morning, that's going to be the case. 46 degrees, the current temperature right now. Northeast winds under 5 miles per hour, and the humidity slightly above, or I shall say below 50%. So that means a lot of that humidity and moisture is starting to move on into our area. If we take a live look right now at your satellite and radar, you could definitely see a little bit more of that moisture moving on in from the west. Silver City right now seeing the potential for those light showers, and that quickly being the potential for us here in El Paso and Las Cruces within the next coming hours. Now, current temperatures right now 44 degrees in El Paso, 46 in Las Cruces. But remember, our next weather maker, which is happening today, will bring with it the rain, cooler temperatures, more clouds. We're going to time all of that out for you coming up in your full forecast. Alyssa, Justin.
All right, thanks, Amanda. We're waiting to hear from police about the cause of a crash that tied up traffic on the border highway yesterday morning. Emergency crews were called out to Loop 375 in Fonseca. The crash shut down 2 lanes on the highway for several hours. A motorcycle and Border Patrol vehicle were involved. Investigators have said there were serious injuries but have not given any more details. And a driver near Anthony says he was hit by a semi-truck on a hit-and-run incident. That driver says he was forced onto the median by a truck, but the semi-truck's driver did not stop. New Mexico State Police went looking for that truck but couldn't find it.
A family continues grieving the loss of their parents this morning. They were killed in a multi-vehicle crash on Friday. Pasuco and Carolina Garcia were 2 of the 3 killed in a crash on Hercules in northeast El Paso. Police say the driver that caused the accident was speeding at the time. The family says the pair were lovebirds, married for 55 years, and say the only silver lining is that they believe the 2 couldn't live without each other.
I believe if there's a Jesus, he made it that way.
Walter Jensen, he was the first responder to the accident when he heard it. His house is right there, right where the accident happened.
My dad was upside down, looking straight at my mom, and he said he was leaving at that time too.
The family says they continue to see people speeding up and down Hercules. They're now asking all drivers to pay closer attention.
Well, dozens of abandoned buildings have popped up across the borderland over the years. CBS 4 This Morning's Alyssa Bethencourt is live in Central El Paso with more on some city bills about impacting us right here in the borderland. Alyssa?
Today, City Council will be discussing several bills that will tackle our vacancy issue head on. For the last couple of years, these abandoned buildings have created safety issues in our community and have taken away from what the city has to offer.
Right, like we've had a vagrancy problem for a while, we've had a fire problem, a homeless problem for a while, and the city hasn't really done anything.
In both the 2017 and 2019 legislative sessions, bills were adopted to help the city of El Paso deal with potentially dangerous building conditions throughout the city. Over the last year, there have been numerous incidents that have led to the destruction of property and put citizens at risk. The most recent example would be a fire starting in a vacant building in Central El Paso by a homeless person. That fire impacting local businesses and posing a threat to the safety of others. Now, City Council wants to develop and implement a recommended action plan to address buildings that are vacant and have substandard conditions that also violate ordinances within the city.
If the property owner has not taken care of it, they've been cited many times, a court has kind of deemed them irresponsible, the city can come in and say, you know what, this one person is not doing their job. There's this other person who has rehabbed old buildings. We're going to give it to them, and they put the money in to fix it, and then they make that back through a sale.
City Council will be meeting today at 9 a.m. We've posted details to those bills on our website, cbs4local.com. For now, reporting live in Central El Paso, Alyssa Bethencourt, CBS 4 This Morning.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. In other news, President Trump is overseas in Switzerland this morning. He's attending the World Economic Forum, promoting U.S. businesses.
Yeah, but back here at home, impeachment is taking center stage before opening arguments can get underway in the Senate. A battle over the rules of the trial will take place. CBS 4 This Morning's Catherine Johnson has more from Capitol Hill.
The Senate's impeachment trial of President Trump kicks off today with what's expected to be a hotly contested debate on the rules.
McConnell is hell-bent on making it much more difficult to get witnesses and documents.
Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's proposal gives each side 24 hours over 2 days to make their opening statements. Then 16 hours are reserved for senators to submit written questions to both teams. It also does not admit the House evidence without a vote.
High octane for the United States Senate, and it's my hope that we'll push through that and have that motion to dismiss and get through this national nightmare as fast as possible.
Democrats need 4 GOP senators to vote with them if they want new witnesses to testify.
They should have called the witnesses in the House, and they failed to do that.
A new CNN poll finds 69% of Americans believe new witnesses should testify.
Mitch McConnell wants a fast trial, not a fair trial.
Throughout the trial, all eyes will be on a small number of moderate Republican senators, some up for re-election this November.
Getting this right and the fairness of our trial is so critically important.
Colorado's Cory Gardner is one of them.
Everybody wants to know exactly where we are and how I'm going to vote and how this is going to happen. But, you know, we have a trial.
Some Republicans have signaled they do want to hear from relevant witnesses, though the White House could claim executive privilege to block them from testifying. Catherine Johnson, CBS News, Washington.
Tense moments in Mexico's border with Guatemala as thousands of Central American migrants are trying to cross into Mexico. The group of mostly Honduran migrants seen here trudging through a riverbank into Mexico. Now, that group was mostly met with scores of armed National Guard members as the country continues trying to curb the influx of migrants into Mexico. As of this morning, most of them remain on the Guatemalan side of the border, determined to eventually enter the U.S.
We're going to be here until they let us cross, until they listen to us, until they have an answer for us.
I'm just scared and I don't want to return to my country because there's no work there. There's nothing. My daughter and I go hungry.
The Mexican government now says it will hold some migrants in detention centers and deport any who do not legalize their status. Coming up, why can't we be friends?
Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. He's a very decent guy.
The reason presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is now offering his apologies to a political rival. More on the scathing op-ed at the center of the controversy.
And the latest on a new bill that could make secondary education free in New Mexico. Amanda?
And we're also talking these big changes in the upcoming hours. I'm going to let you know coming up after the break. You're watching CBS 4 This Morning on your side. Hey everybody, good morning. So we're talking cooler temperatures at this hour, 45 degrees. North winds under 3 miles per hour and about 46% humidity right now out in the lower valley. Now we are expecting things to cool on down slightly as well as bring up the moisture. So let's talk about all of that right now with your satellite and radar, where we're seeing a lot more of that moisture move on in from the west towards Silver City, and then right here in El Paso and Las Cruces, expecting that closer to lunchtime. Now right now 44 degrees, the current temperature closer to the International Airport. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, and that wind chill starting to lessen down your temperature, your feels like temperature. So it feels cooler outside, not only in El Paso, but in Las Cruces, 46 degrees. The actual temperature with 43 degrees as that wind chill factor with those southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your weather impacts, we're talking that next weather maker that will bring with it the rain, the cooler temperatures, windy conditions, and then those clouds, a little bit more heavy of clouds for today compared to yesterday. So yesterday was our first taste of that active weather. So really for today, really going to see a little bit more of that throughout throughout the rest of your Tuesday. And I can say by around 9:30 p.m., really going to start to see those chances for rain lessen on out. And then for tomorrow morning, we could potentially see those increase by your 2 a.m. hour. But really, once all is said and done, today is really the only day that you have to worry about. We're going to go ahead and single this day out because we're actually expecting another weather maker coming soon. I'm going to let you know what and where and how they could potentially impact your upcoming weekend. Justin.
All right, Amanda, thank you. Well, coming up, marching for the second.
You need to be prepared to protect what's yours at all times. And that's life. That's this life that we live in.
Nearly 25,000 gun rights activists making their voices heard in Virginia. That march playing out on MLK Day. Details of what police say was the only arrest of the day. That's coming up on CBS 4 this morning on your side.
Welcome back, 5:15 for your time. The 2020 legislative session kicks off today in Santa Fe. New Mexico lawmakers will come together to discuss everything from legalizing marijuana across the state to passing gun control measures. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has about $7.7 billion in the budget to work with. A newly proposed bill could also make New Mexico colleges and universities free for eligible in-state residents.
It would certainly encourage more people to go to college, especially those who can't afford it. It just would open up so many opportunities to those who probably don't even think they'd ever go to college.
The Free Education Initiative could go a long way for New Mexico. A recent study found the state ranks 42nd in overall education. Texas landed 39th on that list.
There's 3 now. Oh God, there's 3. Are you filming them? There's 4.
Yeah, treading in the borderland this morning. That video was recorded over the weekend by one of our viewers. Our newsroom was flooded with calls and messages of people reporting the strange lights. So we went on a hunt to find some answers. Jonathan Hernandez was one of the people who witnessed the strange phenomenon.
I looked up and I saw like 8 or 9 orange glowing orbs. Just they faded in all in like series. They appeared for at least a good minute and a half. But they disappeared like within 2 or 3 seconds.
Now, as part of our search, we reached out to the National Weather Service. They said they have no explanation for the mysterious lights. However, they did launch weather balloons.
The times don't really match up, and we don't put any lights on our weather balloons.
Weather Service also told us that they only launched weather balloons one at a time. And we called Fort Bliss and White Sands Missile Range, but did not hear back.
Oh boy, Justin, this has people talking.
There you go. And speaking of the great beyond, NASA unveiling its newest class of astronauts as it sets its sights on a return to manned space flights launched from the U.S.
CBS 4 This Morning's Kristen Fisher is more on just how soon these astronauts could be back on the moon and maybe even further.
Lift off. After nearly a decade without an American-made rocket to ride on, NASA astronauts are about to have 3, and there's a new generation of astronauts waiting in the wings. First, there were the Mercury 7, then the Apollo and Space Shuttle astronauts, and now the first class of Artemis astronauts have just graduated from basic training and are eligible for spaceflight.
They represent the first wave of NASA's Artemis generation astronauts.
Artemis is NASA's new mission and a top priority for the Trump administration to return American astronauts to the moon in just 4 years and then go on to Mars.
Our newest astronaut, Kayla Barron.
U.S. Navy Lieutenant and new astronaut Kayla Barron says the Artemis mission has given NASA new life.
We're all pretty excited about the moon right now. The Artemis program has really reinvigorated the NASA team about doing new things, and we're really using our imaginations to understand what a sustainable presence on the moon looks like.
In addition to the moon and maybe Mars, this new class of 13 astronauts will also be flying to the International Space Station. And for the first time since the retirement of the Space Shuttle fleet, American astronauts may no longer have to hitch a ride on a Russian Soyuz rocket.
2020 will mark the return of human spaceflight launches with American astronauts on American rockets from American soil.
NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine believes 2020 will be the year that NASA's Commercial Crew Program will become operational, with the first manned flights of SpaceX's Dragon capsule and Boeing's Starliner slated for later this year. At the same time, NASA is continuing to develop the Orion capsule, which will be used for missions to the moon.
We are having so much fun here at NASA right now, getting ready to fly 3 new vehicles.
Wow, well, industry experts say they also believe 2020 could be the first year space tourism really kicks off. Companies like Virgin Galactic are on track to begin sending paying customers into orbit, though it'll cost each traveler about $250,000.
Nope.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that is quite a bit of money.
crazy.
But hey, I know like even with the private sector, people want to do it with SpaceX. They're talking about it because people just want to know what's
That's
out there.
true.
Honestly, yeah. Would you guys do it? No.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time just flying.
Yeah.
let alone
Oh,
flying
really?
above the
Oh, if I
others.
had the money, I would totally do it.
Would you
Oh,
really?
absolutely, absolutely. I would love to see it. I think it's such a unique experience.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Oh,
I don't know. I just always think of the what if something
True.
was to go
Yeah.
wrong, because you're the first class of people that were to actually travel into that area. So
you'd
no.
wait till they did a few classes first and
no,
then maybe?
I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't at all. I agree with Justin. I start to hyperventilate.
I have 2 feet for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Planted right here on Earth. All right. So we're talking about our Earth, and we're actually seeing a lot more of that movement of moisture moving into our region. If you take a look at Silver City, you can see a little bit more of that precipitation out there, which is quickly moving to El Paso, Las Cruces area. As of right now, though, if you're headed out the door, please make sure that you wear your layers, because look at that. The feels like temperature is where you're going to see the wind chill. Wind chill feels like 40 degrees right now outside here in El Paso, Las Cruces. The feels like temperature about 3 degrees below what we're actually seeing and clocking in at 46 degrees, the actual temperature, with those east-southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. We are on track to see a slight chance of those light area rain showers really throughout the rest of your afternoon and into your evening. So prepare for that. We're going to continue to time that out, let you know about the intensity of those rain showers, if they're going to be light in some places, heavy in others. Again, you're going to want to stay tuned, because we're going to have that look as well as how it can impact your next rest of your work week coming up in your full forecast. Alyssa, Justin.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Well, coming up, survival instincts.
Straddled it, sat down on it, and then scissor locked it as tight as I could.
A father in New Hampshire fighting off a coyote after being attacked. The details.
And that's not all. We've got a mountain lion in California spotted with a child's backpack in its grasp. What led to the shocking image? That's coming up on CBS 4 this morning on your side.
Well, 5:24 for your time. If you're feeling sluggish, your thyroid may be the culprit. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say an underactive thyroid can cause fatigue, cold intolerance, depression, and even weight gain. They also say an overactive thyroid can cause issues such as diarrhea, sleeplessness, and anxiety. Now, health experts say getting a blood test will allow doctors to determine the health of your thyroid.
Well, new research shows a majority of senior citizens do not have enough savings to live on past retirement age. That means Social Security is their only source of income if they have enough work credits. 40% of those polled also do not have access to pension funds, according to experts.
Straddled it, sat down on it, and then scissor locked it as tight as I could.
A father in New Hampshire killed a coyote after his survival instincts kicked in. The man says that he was hiking with his family when the coyote grabbed his 2-year-old son's coat and dragged him to the ground. He says he fought off the large animal even after being bit twice, eventually choking out and killing the beast.
It was snapping and attacking and lunging, and actually the reason why it got me on the chest is because it was able to jump on me. And then just pinned my legs back like this and then just squeezed for everything I was worth.
Now, the state's Fish and Wild Game Office says the animal will be tested for rabies.
And that wasn't the only frightening animal encounter we've got for you today. Images coming out of California show a mountain lion in a tree with what looks to be a child's backpack. Officials now reveal the bag belongs to a 3-year-old. Officials say he and his family were out hiking when a massive lion pounced on the boy, grabbing and dragging the boy off by his neck. The father says he used the pack to distract the animal and scare it off.
A mountain lion came out of somewhere, attacked the 3-year-old, grabbed him by the neck, and started dragging him. The mountain lion dropped the 3-year-old, grabbed the backpack, and then went up into a tree.
Well, officials say the boy is expected to recover. That mountain lion was shot and killed by park officials who said it had to be done in the interest of public safety. So scary.
That is indeed.